So we've taken our glucose, we've got a little ATP out through glycolysis, we've produced the pyruvate, we've translocated the pyruvate into the intermitochondrial membrane, across the two mitochondrial membranes. We've formed a little bit, we've lost one of those carbons from that pyruvate, and we've formed acetyl-CoA, which is a key metabolite. Acetyl-CoA is a key metabolite because when we break down pyruvate, which comes from carbohydrates, we get pyruvate into acetyl-CoA. If we have one of these other macromolecule classes, remember fats, or another food item, big macromolecules that we can eat, those fats are broken down to the monomers of fatty acids. We've talked about this like 3 lectures ago now. When you break down those fatty acids to fatty acid metabolites, that's another way of getting acetyl-CoA. So acetyl-CoA is a metabolite that is formed from our foodstuffs. It is formed from foodstuffs if there is oxygen present. So fats can be broken down into acetyl-CoA, but O2 is required for that to happen. The acetyl-CoA then is going to enter into a complex chain of metabolic reactions, biochemical reactions, that we call the TCA cycle. We call it the TCA cycle because I don't want to try. I'm only going to write this out once, which is the tricarboxylic acid cycle. It's one of its names. The TCA cycle here is also called the citric acid cycle, and we'll see why it's called the citric acid cycle. And it is also called the Krebs cycle. 3 ways of calling the same thing. It's called, in fact, the Krebs cycle after the guy who discovered it in 1937. So 80 years ago, Hans Adolf Krebs figured out this whole metabolic pathway, and he got it named after him. So if you, depending on what cell biology textbook, what other textbooks you take, some textbooks call it citric acid cycle, some call it the TCA cycle, some call it the Krebs cycle. What the Krebs cycle does is it takes it accepts this 2-carbon compound, and it produces a little bit of ATP and a bunch of these reduced electron carriers.